Okay, First Lady.
Thank you, Shannon. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another installment of our Ask an Expert series. Today is the first day of Black Maternal Health Week, and I am incredibly excited to kick off this important week of awareness with our guest experts from St. Joseph's Health and University Hospital to speak about centering pregnancy. But before I introduce our guests, I want to share a Nurture NJ update. A few weeks ago, the governor released his proposed budget, including several Nurture NJ items, such as raising the Medicaid reimbursement rate for our maternity care workforce and our groundbreaking nurse home visiting program, among many other initiatives. The funding for these programs, which totals $33 million, will help put New Jersey at the cutting edge of maternal care and move us forward in our mission of making New Jersey the safest and most equitable state in the nation to deliver and raise a baby. Also, this week, we are hosting our next mini family festival in Burlington City on Wednesday. So if you happen to be in the area, please stop by. The information on this event can be found on my Facebook page, facebook.com/First Lady NJ. And for those of you watching via Facebook right now, if you think of any questions during our interview, please drop them in the chat. And if we have time, we absolutely will do our best to answer them. Okay, so now onto our panel. First, I would like to welcome Dr. Damali Campbell, a board-certified physician in obstetrics and gynecology and addiction medicine. Dr. Campbell is a faculty member at the Rutgers, New Jersey Medical School in the Department of Obstetrics, Gynecology, and Women's Health, and for almost 2 decades has been dedicated to improving care for women in underserved areas. Her special interests within women's health include health education, which led her to implementing centering pregnancy at an ambulatory care center, as well as promoting and supporting breastfeeding. Additionally, she is interested in how addressing social determinants of health can help improve outcomes. Her desire to understand and better serve women with substance abuse problems led her to seek additional training and certification in addiction medicine. Since receiving that certification, she has started a new clinic in her facility called New Beginnings for women with substance use disorders, including nicotine dependence. Her goals are to find innovative and diverse ways to improve maternal and women's care. I would love to welcome you, Dr. Campbell. Also with us is Debbie Katz, a certified nurse midwife and the Centering Pregnancy Program Coordinator at St. Joseph's University Medical Center. Debbie has been a certified nurse midwife for more than 25 years, raised in Staten Island. She thankfully, decided New Jersey's the place to be. Debbie earned her master's in nursing with the specialty of midwifery from the University of Miami. Debbie has been with St. Joseph's University Hospital in Paterson, New Jersey, as the manager of the midwifery service since 2014. St. Joe's has been running their centering pregnancy program since February 2020, which, despite the challenges of the pandemic, has grown in size. Debbie is now working with local agencies to start a community doula program. Welcome, Debbie. Next is Virginia Krostek, a registered nurse and patient education specialist at St. Joseph's University Medical Center. Virginia has been a registered nurse for over 20 years and has 40 years of OB/GYN experience. She has been at St. Joseph's since 2004 as a patient education specialist. Virginia is the staff facilitator for Spanish-speaking centering pregnancy groups. She also is a prenatal nurse educator for the team OB clinic patients. Welcome to you as well, Virginia. Now it is my real pleasure to introduce our 2 moms. First, Shamera Roberts is a first-time mother who gave birth in November 2020 to a little boy named Kahim. Lawrence. Despite difficult moments, Shamera loves being a mother. Her son motivates her to push herself harder and become a better person. Kahim is friendly, loving, and kind, and Shamera says she cannot imagine her life without him. Welcome, Shamera, and thank you for being here as well. And finally, also with us is Faith Morton. Faith recently had a healthy baby girl named Kayomi, who is now 1 month old and breastfeeding. Faith also loves being a mother. Welcome, Faith. Congratulations, and thank you so much for being here. You are only a month in, so I think we can all appreciate how difficult sleep is to come by at the moment. Okay, so let's get started with our Q&A. Of course, if I've missed anything about your background that you would like to share, please feel free to add it as we get into our questions. Okay, our first question is for Deb. Deb, I wonder if you tell us what is centering pregnancy and who might be interested in this program.
Okay, well, first of all, thank you. And I really appreciate all that you and the governor have done for maternal health in the state of Jersey. So centering pregnancy, it's a group model of prenatal care. So instead of having the one-on-one with your provider, you meet your provider in a group setting along with 6, 8, 10 other women. And the way we do it in our groups here is we cohort them by their gestational age. So we'll have, a July due date group, an August due date group, etc. And we've also divided them into Spanish and English. So we'll have every month we have a new group, either in both English and in Spanish. So centering pregnancy follows the ACOG guidelines for prenatal care. We meet every 4 weeks initially, and then every 2 weeks, and then every 1 week as you get closer to delivery. But this group model allows for facilitation. It allows for the health assessment to happen in the same room. And it allows people to gain information in fun and interactive ways instead of just being spoken to. Mm-hmm. And it's also about community building, building relationships among people that they'll be able to foster as they move forward as well. In our clinic, we're using it especially in our younger women, and we have an opt-out program where we actually try to encourage all of the women to be in centering. So for those that don't, there is still the traditional model of prenatal care, but we're finding such wonderful results and experiences within the centering community that more and more women are going to continue to stay in it. And the more they talk about it, the more their friends will hear about it, and programs like this where they'll want to do this. And as far as people participating with, right now, because we're still trying to keep the patients limited because of COVID and close spaces, we really just have the partners come for our visit to the labor and delivery unit where we tour the unit, and then also for the postpartum reunion.
Thank you so much for explaining that excellent program. Okay, my next related question is really for Faith and Shamera. What made you decide to enroll in centering pregnancy? Faith, do you want to kick us off?
I enrolled because I like to open up about things and learn how to be a mom. It's really why I took it, to learn new things as a mother.
Okay, great. Shamera?
Yes, what was the question again? I'm sorry.
Just essentially what made you want to join the Centering for Pregnancy program?
Oh, well, I'm a new mom and I don't have my mom here or a lot of family over here. So, there's not much people that can help me to tell me what to do. So, I mean, when they told me that they have a centering program that can help us, guide us throughout the way, I was interested because I don't have a lot of friends and I don't have a lot of family over here. And if there's somebody that can help me, I would really love that. So I took it up myself to be there. And it's really fun, I learn a lot. I met some great people that I still communicate with up to this day. And it's just a phenomenal experience, and I would totally recommend it to anybody.
Great. Thank you. I know all the moms watching really would love to hear the perspective of another mom. So that is truly helpful. I have a follow-up question for you both, actually. What does a typical group session look like, and who's able to participate alongside the mothers?
Go ahead. What was the question again?
Just what does a typical session look like, and who is able to participate alongside you?
Well, your partners, if you have, and it's just like a group of people sitting around each other, conversating about things they went through. If not, new mothers with experience to talk about their experience.
Shamera, do you want to add anything?
So normally it would be like, the moms, and then it would be the nurses, two nurses, and like sometimes we'll have like another person come in or something and they'll give her input. But it's like that. And, everybody correspond and say whatever, express how they're feeling and, challenges you need throughout the pregnancy, what's new, what's going on, and stuff like that.
Thank you both so much. That sounds like a terrific support network. Okay, Dr. Campbell and Deb, I think you want to say something, but I'm going to get you at the end, so we'll keep going for now. Is that okay? Okay, Dr. Campbell, I wonder if you can tell us, how does centering pregnancy engage mothers to participate in their own care and empower them to be advocates for themselves and for their baby?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think, as mentioned, what happens is that these women are brought in and they're of around similar due dates. And I think that, what we find, and I'm sure Deb and Virginia find similar situations, is that sometimes maybe one person has a question and then another person maybe has that same question, but they didn't want to ask it. They were a little shy. And so you just need one person to kind of kick it off and ask a question. And then people start to remember the questions that they had, and they, will give their input. Well, I heard this and I heard that. The principle of centering in terms of engaging the patient, like Deb was kind of mentioning, is we're not talking at you. So it's a group discussion. We come in with a topic that we want to discuss, and we're asking moms, what do they know? What do they think? Because moms are really the expert on their bodies, on their lives. And so really, as medical professionals, we need to understand where they're coming from, what their thoughts and ideas are. And I think that's really how the engagement occurs. And in that, they are sharing ideas with each other. So they are really learning from each other. And we may correct little myths here and there, but they really already know the information. And studies have shown that they take that information from their peers much better than they do from us.
That is so important. Thank you so much, Dr. Campbell. Virginia, this next question is for you. How is centering pregnancy different from other informational sessions where patients listen to a lecture and then receive kind of informational pamphlets?
It's very different. As a matter of fact, Debbie and I were having this conversation the other day about how we've had to adjust to, it's different than I've done for years. I was always, as you said, lecturing, videotapes, handouts, doing most of the talking, just, questions I would answer. But now it's so different, and we have to encourage them more to participate and do the speaking, as Dr. Campbell had said. Let them change the topic, let them ask the questions, let them teach each other. So you just have to kind of like plant the seed and just kind of lay back and let them do a lot of the work. And you do make corrections. Sometimes I just don't say anything and let the teaching change their mind. I mean, that actually happened today. I'm going to sleep with my baby. I'm going to sleep with my baby. We put the video, did a few things. And by the end of the session, I'm not sleeping with my baby. So just by, letting them figure it out and learn. So it's different. And another thing that's very different is that they're doing their vitals and they're taking care of their own selves, learning about themselves, learning protein, glucose, blood pressures, weighing themselves. And I love how they help each other. So that's very different from having a lectured kind of setting, teaching. So big difference. And I think it's so much better.
That sounds like a really unique and engaging experience for any mom. So thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, speaking of, now let's get back to our moms. Faith and Shamera, as mothers who have participated in centering pregnancy, what would you say was the most beneficial thing that you learned about yourself and your health? Faith?
What I learned about myself?
Yes, if you did learn something, perhaps you picked up a tip that you want to pass on, anything like that.
I don't really thought anything I learned about myself. I just took the group to get a better understanding of how to be a mom. I opened up about my feelings about certain things, and I kind of relate to everybody else who's going through the same thing. I don't know. I haven't really learned much about myself. I just was be able to speak my situation about what I was going through.
Great. Shamera?
Yes.
So, did you hear the question? I'm just wondering if there's anything you learned about yourself over the course of your participation in centering pregnancy.
I learned so much. I mean, I learned how to be, a caring mother, how you have to be patient with the babies. Takes a lot of patience, takes a lot of learning, takes a lot of getting used to, and it's a lot more. I can't really remember everything. But I learned a lot, especially from others, because there was this other woman in the centering program. She previously had a baby. She was the only one who had a baby. So we were like, she's more experienced because she'd been through it before, while us, we were just the first time mom. So we like, okay, we were like, this is gonna happen, and this. I'm like, okay, this is gonna happen. I loved it. The only problem is that I wish it was longer. Sometimes the time ran out so fast, and I'm like, I'm not ready to go. I have so many more questions.
Well, that is pretty much of a ringing endorsement for the program, I would say. Thank you so much for sharing that. I think moms watching will be grateful to know what they might also get out of an experience like this. Okay, Dr. Campbell, Deb, and Virginia, as a physician, certified nurse midwife, and registered nurse, how do you work with each other to support moms who participate in centering pregnancy? And while you each have the mic, if there's something else you wanted to add, because I think I noticed Dr. Campbell and Deb at a minimum wanted to say something a few minutes ago, please take the time to do that as well. Dr. Campbell, you want to kick us off?
Sure. I just wanted to say that a lot of times what patients will say that they got out of the experience of centering, because we do an evaluation midway and we also do an evaluation at the end, is that it helped them to gain confidence. And then also because they learn that they are not alone. They're not the only ones who are afraid. One of the things that we talk about with centering is, what's your fear for this pregnancy? And we find out a lot of people are afraid of the pain. What's the pain going to be like in labor? Okay. And so we have these discussions and we talk about it. And so they're relieved to know that they're not alone. They're not by themselves. So that's something that we commonly find that patients are, get out of the sessions, in addition to all the things that Faith and Shamera mentioned. I think as clinicians and as providers, we support each other. I had a chance to meet some of the St. Joe's people because we went to a facilitating session together and we shared ideas. Centering is a great model, but of course, we're all in our local environments and we kind of have to do what works for us. And so, we learn, what works for us. We do try to get our ladies at the same time, but sometimes it doesn't always work. So we do accept people at different times of the pregnancy. Sometimes people become high risk and then we need to send them off to high risk clinic. And we find that our patients actually will prefer to go to high risk clinic and still come to centering. Sometimes we have to hand walk them to high risk clinic because they just don't want to leave
Right.
the program because of that network of support that they found with other women. And I have to just say, I don't want to monopolize the time, but I have to say it expands generations. In our centering groups, we have some women who are 15 and we have some women who are 35. And you know what? We all have stress. We all are trying to manage time. We're all trying to deal with COVID and after COVID and all these type of things. That's not unique to your age or to where you live. And so it really is just a big bonding session. And COVID, isolated us so much. It seems like since COVID, it's been like a magnet for us. People want to come to our groups. And as Shamera mentioned, we have trouble getting them to go home because they want more.
It's true. I've had a few say this needs to be longer, or they'll hang out and just keep chatting. And then we're like, oh, we have to set the room up for lunch. So have to go.
And we make an interactive, discussion, and we have a project often that we'll do. We make these warming socks with rice that they can take home with them. And so the provider does the health assessment there while other facilitators, keep the group together and keep a conversation flowing.
Mm-hmm.
So
doing a project, and a lot of the projects are really nice. It makes them think about themselves. The one example is the tree, which I love, and the patients love it. And it really looks deep down inside where their roots are, their influences, things they want to get rid of in life. We also do for stress, collage of things that help you with stress. And it also helps lead into labor. What helps you to relax. We do mindfulness, relaxation
and
breathing, yoga. Yes, I have them do yoga. They come with their little mats. Some of them have mats, and I even have it in Spanish. I have yoga in Spanish, and I've had a few of them say, I'm still doing that yoga, and it's helping my back. So they're learning so much, and the friendships that they've developed is wonderful. They know somebody else delivered before we know that they delivered.
Yeah.
So I also love the fact that we all, once the provider's done with their thing, we have done the vitals and we've done everything, and we all sit down in a circle with them and we also participate. And we will also share. So it's not like we're just sitting there listening to their things. We also will share our experiences and our families and our lives and whatever the topic is. So they feel, they get to know us also. So
it truly is a wonderful experience. And, the women taking part in their own health care builds self-esteem and the confidence that Dr. Campbell was talking about it. And they can know that they can do this. And knowing that other people, in the group have done it. And then when they come back for their reunion, and let me tell you that we had a very poor postpartum return rate before centering. And now our postpartum return rate has increased dramatically, which is really nice to see. So we can, help talk about, spacing pregnancies and baby issues as well.
And as Dr. Campbell was saying, some of them have to be transferred to high-risk clinic, and they're very upset. I actually have one with a severe cardiac problem. She's coming to centering just to come to centering, but still being seen in high-risk clinic. I was like, come, you're welcome. So she just loves being with the group and the support that she's getting from everyone.
Well, it's interesting because even if you're high risk, you still need the education.
Absolutely. I think you needed more.
That's actually one of the programs that we're working on, trying to integrate high risk into centering, maybe have a diabetic group or a hypertensive group. And we're really trying to integrate those into a centering program as well.
Fantastic. Thank you all for those answers. I think every pregnant mom definitely likes to understand how her providers coordinate her care. I also would have to say, as a point of personal privilege, that should I have known about centering pregnancies or doulas or any of these incredible resources out there when I was having my 4 children, I absolutely would have benefited. And Shamera said it just right when she said, it's just kind of being, knowing somebody else is out there who's going through the same thing. So thank you all for what you're doing. Okay, Dr. Campbell, we know that women of all different ages and races and socioeconomic backgrounds can participate in centering pregnancy. How do these group sessions create a sense of community between mothers who might be different, but are sharing the common experience of pregnancy?
Yeah. So, one of the other things I wanted to just add was that for our group, what centering looks like is when the women come in, they do their blood pressure and they do their weight and they log it into the centering. They have a little book that allows them to keep their data and information. We also use it for education. So we encourage them to use the book, to write down their information, but also to write down any questions. And so as people are coming into the groups, they're doing their vital signs, they're getting their urine sample, checking that, and then we might do some of the visits with the providers. In terms of how these different women, being human and being pregnant and having pregnancy is a very common experience. And so I think it just comes down to that. We've been doing this since 2011. And I have to say that when we ask women, what are their concerns and what are their fears about pregnancy, whether it's their first time, their second time, their third time, they're pretty similar. And so I think that's what people are bonding around, regardless of age, regardless of their ethnic background. They're coming together and they're bonding around the experience of being pregnant, things they can't do, things they, they want to do, but also just the concerns that they have about what's going to happen in labor. And, those things are similar.
So one thing occurs to me, and that is, I wonder if one of you 3 would give a shameless advertisement as to how a mom might be able to find you How do you sign up for these sessions? What's the process? Because I realize we haven't shared any of those details.
So the way we do it in our, unfortunately, we don't have an opt-out, but we do have a centering coordinator. And so every patient that comes to our clinic for a new, what we call a new OB appointment. So when they recognize that they are pregnant, then we have them, we introduce this idea of centering pregnancy and see if they're interested.
Pretty much the same when you register for prenatal care at St. Joe's outpatient facility. We talk to the patients about centering and register them in as well into the either English or Spanish, or if they can't do it because of work obligations or whatnot, into the traditional model.
Great. Okay, thank you. Okay, it sounds like there is really so much to be gained from the environment of centering pregnancy and all that it creates. So I hope that some of our moms are learning that here. Okay, Faith and Shamera, has spending time with your providers outside of the exam room helped to facilitate a better relationship and therefore better care for you individually? Faith, we've started with you each time, so let's start again with you.
Yeah, I have a better relationship outside of like the group sessions and stuff. I can always go to them and talk to them about anything if I needed to.
Shamera?
Yeah, I have a good relationship with them. I mean, especially the nurse and the midwife that was there. Every time I take my son to the clinic, I make sure it's my point of duty to go there and look if any one of them is there. I'm like, hi, is Romeo and Jen inside? They'd be like, yeah, every single time. I never miss. I always try to be in contact with them because they're just so loving. They're like my second mom, And because of them, I would do it all over again. I mean, when I went in labor, I didn't have much family or anybody there. So there was this Jen and Romy, those were my two. They were working at the time, so I told them that I'm going into labor. They made sure that they notified the other midwife that Shamera is coming in, and she doesn't have much, so she would love the support. And I was the last person, I think, to have baby, and everybody was in the room with me, all the doctors, all the students, and it was just amazing.
That's really wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing those two stories. I think as a follow-up to that, I just wonder if each of you would tell us how was your delivery and tell us how your babies are doing.
My delivery was amazing. I had a good midwife there. She was very patient and calm with me when I was going through my contraction. I really love how helpful and open armed they are to people. And my baby is good. She's happy. She's growing. I'm just excited to be a mom.
Congratulations.
For sure.
Thank you.
My son, he's something else. He thinks he's just too grown for me. He wants to do everything. I can't feed him anymore. He wants to feed himself. Whenever I'm going to take the shower, he wants to come in the shower with me. I'm like, no, you have to wait your turn. This is my turn. He just always want to, when you have kids, they're all up in your space. You have no space. Your space is their space. You want a toilet, they want to be in the bathroom with you. Everything like that. So, I mean, he's so loving. He's fun. He's learning, so he wants to do everything that I'm doing. If I'm chewing a gum, he's trying to chew a gum too. I'm like, boy. I mean, so and the midwives, Jen and Rumi, I mean, the pain was okay until I did the epidural. So it was better, but for them, the experience, I would do it again. I'm going to centering and I recommend it 100%.
Whoops. So I would just say that's an incredible note to end on. But before I close this out, I just wonder if anybody wanted to quickly add anything that they didn't have the chance to do already. Deb, Virginia, Dr. Campbell, anything anybody wants to add?
So we're also starting a doula program, a community doula program, with the maternal child health, the maternal child partnership, as well as New Destiny, which is a local community advocacy group that helps new moms. And this is just getting off the ground right now, and the community doulas are about to start to train, and we'll have them at our hospital. And we're going to combine it with the centering that, those are going to be the patients that first have this chance, just to, whatever support we can give the women is benefit for everybody. And then also the fact that Medicaid in the state of New Jersey now reimburses for centering makes the program sustainable for us, which is really great. We started with a grant because of Nurture New Jersey, thank you. And, through the partnership and the local foundations, it's been wonderful. But, when the grant money runs out, at least we'll have this Medicaid reimbursement that will help us. And the other thing I have to say about Medicaid is the governor's decision to extend it for a year for postpartum care is really something. It just helps women to get back on their feet, to make sure all of their problems are resolved, and then they're receiving health care during that time, which is so important.
And I just want to add that I want patients that are going to join centering to realize that they get to sit in a room with a nurse, a physician for 2 hours. They have them to themselves for 2 hours, not just, in a room, be seen and then leave. So they have them at their fingertips.
And we provide snacks.
Yes. From Costco.
Yeah, I was going to just say, definitely I agree with everything that Deb and Virginia said. Oftentimes up front, if you tell the patient, the 2-hour session, it's seems daunting, oh, it's whole 2 hours. But when you really look at it, the average time when a patient comes to the office, our office with registration, and then they have to get their vital signs taken, and they're probably waiting in the room for a little bit before the clinician comes in. And then maybe they have to go and get, do the urine sample or get their blood drawn. So most times we find that patients are in our facility for at least 1.5 hours to 2 hours. And so really the difference is that these 2 hours, we're all together in one room. They're getting everything. And so my co-facilitator, Gladys Martinez from University Hospital, always says it's prenatal care plus. It's prenatal care plus, because you get everything that you would normally get with prenatal care. You get all of your labs, you get all of your testing, you get your ultrasounds, you get everything. But you plus, you get to meet women who are going through the exact same things that you may be going through. And they're community building, you're developing relationships. And we've had patients give rides home to each other. We've had patients, keep in touch, like Deb mentioned. Sometimes they know that someone has had a delivery before we know, because they're communicating in real time with the social media and everything else. And I just want to give one more additional point that really became apparent to me with our group last week. Medical care really only accounts for the small proportion of the health outcomes, but it's the social determinants of health that really account for the majority. And somehow, I think in medicine, we've kind of uncoupled the medical visit from dealing with all of these other social determinants of health. And I think what I realized what centering really does is it brings it back together. It brings that medical visit and talking about life and how we do things, how we get to the clinic, how we get to the offices, how we're eating, what we're eating, all of these things that really encompass life and how we're getting through it. It brings it all together. And I think that's why we see the proven outcomes. I also just want to say, it's not only good for the patients, it's good for the providers. And, you know, some of my providers are jealous because they come by, they might see us laughing. And so they think we're having a social club, but I have to tell them, like, I'm working. They don't believe me because I look like I'm having too much fun, you know? So, you know, sometimes they get a little bit jealous, but then I say, hey, you can do a group too, and you can realize how much fun it is. And people are surprised how you can really, it's the work, but it's fun work. And when you're having fun at work, isn't it always easier than when you're just going and you're going through the motions, but you're not happy about the work you're doing? So it is good for my soul as a provider. It helps to keep me going.
Fantastic. Really lovely. All of your remarks were lovely. And it just goes to prove how many more questions there are out there, because I was thinking to myself, I wonder how often these take place. And I wonder what the biggest size of the sessions are, or the smallest size of the sessions. So I think there's a lot that's still to be learned. And you know, I'm glad to be able to hopefully whet everyone's appetite today by sharing some of the information that you've shared. So with that, I really want to thank our experts from University Hospital and St. Joseph's Health, Dr. Damali Campbell, Debbie Katz, and Virginia Krostek, as well as our incredible moms, Faith and Shamera, for their insight and for generously taking the time to be here with us today. In each installment of our Ask an Expert series, we seek to shed light on a different aspect of maternal care. And I am really so grateful that we had the opportunity today to share the impact of centering pregnancy. And I'm especially grateful to our two incredible moms who shared their experiences with us and took time out in what I know is a busy time. Of all that Nurture NJ seeks to achieve, elevating the voices of moms is truly the most important. So this week, as we recognize Black Maternal Health Week, I hope you too will take the time to reach out to the moms in your life and amplify their stories. Raising awareness of New Jersey's maternal health crisis is the first step to our solving it. Together, I commit that we will make New Jersey the safest and most equitable state in the nation to deliver and raise a baby. Thank you all again for joining us, and please share this episode on your social media if you know of anyone who might be helped by hearing some of the tips and things that we learned today. So thank you all and have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.